So who thought it's cold in here? Because I'm like, last week it wasn't wanting to work, and this week it's like, whew, all right. So let's start with our focus statement so we can focus on being in each other's presence this morning. So here we go. We embolden people to live their highest potential through the transformative power of love. Yes, that was good. Y'all are awake. That's good. So it is, as I mentioned earlier, it is the beginning of February, which means we have a new theme for the month. But before we talk about the theme for the month, the theme for the year at Centers for Spiritual Living is 2020 Spiritual Vision. Our theme for the month this month is all the colors of love. Hence, Jubel singing True Colors right off the bat for us to get us started for the month. So what a perfect way to start that. Today, our topic is for the love of God. For the love of God. Exactly. Oh, for the love of God. Right? When we often hear that phrase, we tend to go that way with that phrase, right? Oh, for the love of God. Right? And all that is good and holy. Right? The follow-up to that. Right? And this week, certainly, we've had plenty of opportunities, perhaps, to express that sentiment. Starting last week Sunday, as we all know, early in the morning, Kobe Bryant and his daughter Gianna and 7 others were killed in a helicopter crash in Calabasas, California. And I know that has shocked people, that has impacted people in meaningful and deep ways. And the tragedy of the loss of not only Kobe Bryant and his daughter, but the loss of everyone on that helicopter, and the way that our country and the world has responded to that accident has been quite interesting to observe. Some people completely mourning the loss of all, some criticizing Kobe Bryant's life like that's anything new to him, and trying to minimalize and marginalize and taking the opportunity to do that. And how troubling that is. That even in death, even in tragedy, that some folks want to find ways to be separate from one another, want to find ways to marginalize one another, want to find ways of making less than. And what I know is that he was a man. He was flawed, just like we all are. He rose above adversity. He rose above challenge. And he made amends. And he was a loving father, and ultimately a loving husband, and an inspiration. And he paved the way for so many, and making the difference in so many lives. And that's not to minimalize the other lives that were on that helicopter, because they too had their own challenges. They too were not perfect. They too had impact on the lives of those they loved and reaching out beyond. And so there was a sense of, for the love of God, this whole week around that particular tragedy of last Sunday and the way things have continued to unfold. And then on Friday, for some, there was another, for the love of God. As we observed and we watched the Senate do what the Senate did. And so there's still that sense, perhaps, of, for the love of God. Really? When we use that phrase, for the love of God, in that way, the way Wayne, for the love of God, started right off the thing. When we use that, we tend to use it from a place of shock. We tend to use it from a place of surprise. We tend to use it from a place of exasperation, of frustration, of upset, of, right? We tend to use that phrase when, as it was mentioned in the morning table, when we feel like somehow we've lost some kind of control, or we're trying to control something and we just don't have control. We don't have agency over it. And so what do? It's for the love of God. But really, in those moments, what better phrase? Because it's a phrase of surrender, isn't it? Oh, for the love of God. It's a phrase of surrender, of surrendering into and realizing and taking the opportunity and the moment, in that moment, to recognize that, you know what, I'm not feeling connected to Source at this moment. I'm feeling separated somehow. I'm sensing a sense of other. I'm sensing a sense of separation. I'm sensing that something outside of me has had some kind of an impact on me or on my life, whether it be my daughter rolling her eyes and copying an attitude. And I know some of you respond to that. Yeah, I see hands raised on that one, right? Whether it be something as simple as that, or whether it be something national or worldwide, right? But there is that sense. So what a greater opportunity then than to be in that moment, of angst or of frustration, right? And to remember, to use that phrase to remember, for the love of God. What's missing here in this moment? Oh yeah, I forgot who I am. I forgot that I am the divine made manifest. I forgot that I am the power and the presence of love. So in this moment, I call out in a prayer that's not a prayer, in a deep surrender of, for the love of God. And it's an opportunity to turn within and to recognize, there. Because when we remember who we are, when we remember that we are love, that God is love, that we are love, and we're calling out to that, when we remember that who we are, we begin to shift. A shift immediately happens when we remember, I am the presence of love. A shift can occur. Whether it's a shift in the situation or it's just simply a shift in our consciousness, a shift in our response to the situation, whatever the situation is. But a shift then occurs because we have now taken our focus off of the problem and put our focus right where it belongs, on the divine, on love, on the who of who we are. Bishop Michael Curry of the Episcopal Church, he's the presiding bishop of the Episcopal Church. He's the first African-American man to hold that rank and hold that title. He, last year, gave the homily or the sermon or the little talk at Harry and Meghan's wedding, because I don't know, are there prince and princess still anymore? It's hard to track that, right? So Harry and Meghan, right, got married last year. And he gave the talk there, and his talk was entitled The Power of Love. And in it he said, there is power in love. There is power in love to heal when nothing else can. There is power in love to lift up and liberate when nothing else will. And there is power in love to show us how to live. And so I think of those words this week, and I apply them to this week. And yes, there is the power to heal when nothing else can, when we're grieving, whether it be the loss of the individual or individuals or the loss of an ideal. There's power to lift up and liberate when nothing else will. And there is the power in love to show us how to live. The master teacher taught that there are two great commandments: love thy God with all thy heart, all thy mind, all thy soul, and all thy strength, and love thy neighbor as thyself. The two great commandments. There, right in there, is teaching us how to live, to come from that place. Because, as he said, if you do not love God, if you do not love, period, if you do not love, then you cannot know God. You cannot know the divine, because the divine, God, whatever you choose to call it, is love. And elsewhere, if you do not love your brother whom you see, how can you love God whom you don't see? So the opportunity then is to love one another as ourselves. The opportunity is to see the divine in each other. The opportunity is to express all the colors of love, all the varieties of love, all the ways that we can love with one another. There is brotherly love. There is friends. There's the love between friends. There's the love between siblings. There's love between parents and children, or grandparents and aunties and uncles and friends. There is the love between romantic partners, people committed to spending their lives together or a short time together. There is love for a community. There is compassionate love. There's devotional love. There's sacrificial love. There's all these different forms and types of love. And yet each expression of love is an expression of the one love. It's the facet of the one love that is all that there is. It is the facet of the divine love for itself, knowing itself through itself, as itself, giving to itself. Because in all of our individualized relationships with whomever, with the collective or with each other, these are all reflections of the one relationship that is all that there is, and that is the relationship with the divine. Because each form of this love, each type of love, is love itself. You cannot know love. You can only experience it. Think about love for a minute. When you try to describe love, are you describing love itself, or are you describing the way you experience love? Think about that. When you talk about love, you're talking about how it makes you feel. You talk about these ideas of, well, I have deep affection for, right? For my husband, right? I have deep compassion for people. But all of these things are not really getting at what love is, because we can't define what love is. We can't say, this is love. We can only experience it, and it is through the experiencing of love that we know what love is. But we can't give words to it. Likewise, we can't give words to the divine. Because what is the divine? The divine is love. And therefore, we can talk about this ethereal concept. We can talk about context and structures and everything, but really, the only thing we have, the only way to know the divine, is to experience the divine. The only way to know love is to experience love. Same thing. The only way to know the divine is to experience the divine. So how do we experience the divine? How do we go about doing that? Of having that experience? So many people think that, I have to do something to deserve love. I have to do something to deserve God's love. Woe is me, I'm a woeful sinner. I am unworthy of God's love. Right? Or I have to earn it. I have to be a good boy and I have to earn it. Right? Or I have to be pious and pray and hope that this capriciousness, this capricious body will just say, yeah, hey, you're cool. I like you. I love you. Right? But we don't have to earn love. We don't have to earn the divine love. It's not a matter of deserving it. We don't have to do anything to receive it. Why? Because we already are it. It was already given in the beginning. It is the self-knowingness and the self-givingness of the divine that gives already. It's already been given. Love already is. You already are it. Nothing could be added to you. Nothing more could be possible. You are the power and the presence of love. Why is that true? Because love itself is unconditional. When we talk about love being unconditional, there is no condition. Unconditional. There's no limit to love. It is completely unconditional. Well, guess what? We're living in a realm of condition, aren't we? We're living in a realm of effect. Effect and condition are one and the same. And love itself is unconditional. If it were a condition, it would be like this chair sitting here, and I could describe it, and it's soft, and it's comfy, and it's pink, and there's brown, and I'm describing the chair. It's objective. It's an object. But love is not that. Love is an experience, is unconditional. Therefore, if it's unconditional, if it's not in the realm of effect, if it's not in the realm of condition, it's not in the realm here, then it has to be in the realm here. It has to be in the realm of cause. And it is first cause. It is the only cause. Love, back of everything, created all of life, all of creation. So the only thing that was ever created, the only thing from which things could be created, was love itself. And only love. There's nothing else for it to be except itself. So love only knows love. The divine only knows the divine. Therefore, who are you? Love. Who are you? The divine. Who are you? The power and the presence. Living and moving and having its being as all of life, of all of creation. You are love. So there's no need to go out there and get it. You can't seek it because you can't find it anywhere outside yourself. Because where does love live? Here. Love lives here, right? Here, but love lives here. It's the very essence of who we are. You can't find it anywhere else. So the way to love, the way to know love, is to go within and get it. And it's not even a getting, it's not even a seeking, it's a going within and realizing and allowing that imprisoned splendor to escape. It's getting your own small bloated nothingness out of the way and allowing it out. Allowing love to express through and as you. Allowing the who of who you are to be fully made manifest. That is the love that we're talking about. That is the love of God. The love of the divine. And when you're in perfect alignment with that, when you contemplate, which is a way of going within, is going within and meditating and contemplating. Like I said last week, who am I? Or another question is like, what is God? What is the divine? And contemplate and sit in the silence and allow the infinite intelligent wisdom within you to teach you, to guide you, to show you, to demonstrate through you exactly what it is. And what it is love. And so we simply allow. It's a turning within and finding your God spot, finding your divine spot. Feeling the power and the presence of love well up within you. There's no need to seek it outside of you. You're never going to find it out there. It's all in here. It's inside. And so when we encounter these situations in our lives where we want to go, oh, for the love of God, remember, it's an opportunity to shift, to focus your attention on the love of God. Pierre Teilhard de Chardin said that if we were to harness the energy of love, harness the power of love, harness the energy of love, humans will have discovered fire for the second time. Because without fire, the lights wouldn't be on, you wouldn't have been able to drive here, you wouldn't be able to cook your food or drink water or do any number of things. So if we were to harness that energy of love, if we were to ever harness that energy of love, Desjardins says that we would have discovered fire for the second time. And so when you're thinking and feeling for the love of God, come back to your awareness of the divine within you, the love that is within you. And we recognize it, when we recognize that, when we recognize the power of love, when we recognize the redemptive power of love, then we make the old world new. For truly, there is only love. And so it is.